police and how we need to officers and other issues as well. The first thing I like to do is some of the Lowe law. Second thing I like to do is introduce the panel that we have here today. With the mic, and someone just introduce yourself.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Alan Lane. I'm the interim chief of police in Spencer, Oklahoma. I've been there approximately a year, 20 years of full-time law enforcement experience.
Good afternoon. I'm Bruce Davis. I'm a recently retired lieutenant with the Oklahoma City Police Department. During that time, I had the opportunity to work in campus resource with some of the young black men, also in domestic violence, some of those other programs.
My name is Charles Battle. I am of counsel with the Lowe law firm. I specialize in the civil division and also provide support on the criminal side as well.
Hello, my name is Joe Garcia. I'm actually an attorney here in Oklahoma City. I'm a law firm. I specialize in criminal and immigration law.
Hello, I'm Charles Henry. Watch stomach. Charles Henry, I've been practicing about 18 years. One of the areas practices criminal law. Thank you.
Thanks to each of you for coming out. We know it's an investment in your time, an investment in resources, pay gas, and we really appreciate you having an interest in the community. So today we're going to get real answers from the community. I'm going to start off with questions, but in the meantime, while they're answering questions, if you have something that you would like to ask, we have volunteers in the Lowe Law Firm t-shirts. You can write your question down and hand that to them, and we'll get that asked for you. Okay? All right. So our first question of the evening, or of the day, rather, what do you find most people need to know and understand as it relates to police-related stops? So if that's a safety factor, if that's a factor of an investment of time that a police officer like scheduling, I don't know what that answer looks like. But in your opinion, what does everyone need to know? I'll start with you, Chief Lane.
Basically, the one thing you need to know is anytime you stop by law enforcement is that if you have an issue, you're probably not going to win that issue. You're arguing on the side of the road. That is not the time or the place to argue with that officer or disagree with that officer. Take good notes. Make sure you get the officer's name, especially if he doesn't issue a citation. Ask for a supervisor's name. Ask for the department heads. Get all that information. Take good notes, and then contact that department. You may also seek legal counsel from an attorney. And because what happens oftentimes is things tend to escalate. Emotions get involved. Police officers human too. We try to maintain a calm demeanor, but again, there's no telling what kind of day that individual's had. We don't know what kind of day you had. So the best thing I can tell you, on traffic stop, let the officer take care of his business. If you have an issue after that, take care of it in the proper manner so you don't cause yourself.
That's a broad question. Again, I do have a pamphlet from Oklahoma City Police Department that actually addresses a lot of situations in which you come in encounter with the police department. But the number one thing, as long as that officer is being, what you need to know is that his order is a direct order that you are bound to when he requests certain information. Requested, or he gives you a direct order, that is non-negotiable. He tells you to do something, you have to do something at that particular time. Again, if you feel like you've been done wrong or something like that, or your rights have been violated, go ahead and take note of it. You can get on your phone, call 911, call the supervisor out. Supervisor will be out to do a complete investigation. My 27 years encountering certain young youth in this community, opportunity in this community as well, is they believe that that's the time for defiance, and that the officer is going to negotiate with you on his orders. When he gives you an order to do something, you have to do that, as long as it's a lawful order.
I'm going to basically echo what the officers have been saying. You have to be respectful. You're not going to win your argument on the side of the road. Citation or is a process in which you can dispute the allegations against you. I think there's a broad misconception out there that if your rights are immediately violated, you can get your charges kicked out or dismissed, or you may sue. Those are certain challenges that are difficult to overcome. You don't necessarily have to have your Miranda rights read to you if you're arrested. You do have the right to remain silent. You should remain silent if you are going to be arrested, because they are going to use your statements against you. However, even if they don't read you your rights, doesn't mean your case is dismissed. It just means certain evidence might be suppressed. They might not be used to argue. So always be careful with your interactions with the police. Always be respectful, and as they say, follow their orders. And that's all I have.
They said it all pretty much. I don't have anything else to add. He is right. Don't say more than you have to say. Give the information they ask you. If you think whatever they ask you might incriminate you, just say, you know what? Am I being arrested? No? Okay, then I don't have to answer anything that might incriminate me. That's it.
Yeah, one thing, if you know someone that has a prior drug conviction, you need to know that their Oklahoma City Police Department, I'm not speaking on their behalf, but I did have a particular case in regards to that. A lot of times, if there's a K-9 within a reasonable amount within a reasonable distance of the area, they can call a K-9 unit to come out and search the perimeters of the vehicle to see if there's drugs. And so what they can do is they can ask you to get out of your vehicle. And the way the law is vetted right now in the Supreme Court, but basically what's a reasonable 5 to 10 minutes, they can have you get out of your vehicle, have a K-9 unit come and search and sniff for drugs. So what you need to know, if you do have a prior drug conviction, you need to know if the police officer starts asking you an exorbitant amount of questions that don't get rattled by and say, why are you having me leave my vehicle? Know and understand that that's the way the law is right now, and then you can handle it later. Like some of the officers said earlier, you can file a complaint, get the officer's badge number, but you don't have to say, what's your badge number and all this, because we've seen nationwide that a lot of times it's not always black and white. So the problem is that police departments are trying to justify some of this unreasonable force, which ultimately culminates in somebody losing their life because of the fact that saying, well, that person commits an arrest. You know, I can talk all day and talk about how not. We can get into that a little later, but make sure you do your part. You know, don't get rattled, don't get angry, don't get upset. You just handle that for another day.
I'd like to talk about a big or a major misconception that's out there as far as not having to produce ID if a police officer stops you. You have to produce your ID. The police officer stops you while you're driving and asks you for your identification. You have to produce your identification. I had a client come into my office and he indicated to me that he can refuse providing the police officer with identification based on the fact that he had no reason to stop him. Once again, you have to litigate that later on. But if a police officer stops you, you have to provide them with identification and proof of insurance. Another thing is when you're arrested, if you're arrested on a case, I think one of the attorneys on the panel talked about this as well. You read Miranda rights. We watch TV, watch CSI, we watch a lot of shows, and we get that, you know, that thing in our head saying, "Oh, we have a right to do X, Y, and Z." We don't. Unfortunately, the Supreme Court has ruled that police officers are not required to read you your Miranda rights.
Wow. That's good information from everyone. Thank you so much. Okay, my next question. The Muskogee Police Department recently released footage of a young man running from police. What does the law say about a shooting that takes place as it relates to an incident when a man has a weapon, but he's fleeing? We're going to start again.
An individual fleeing with a dangerous weapon from a police officer, that's a very wide open question, considering there are a lot of factors that go into that. Officer's main concern at that point in time is that individual a danger to him or others in the immediate area? If you've got an individual fleeing with a farm in an open field with nothing but livestock out there, it's a different situation than if he's in the middle of a high school gymnasium full of kids. And so our actions that we take are based on the totality of the circumstance. The law allows us to use deadly force to defend ourselves and others. But there are a lot of things such as department policies that take place and those decision-making processes. I will let the attorneys expound the board at the fleeing felon rule that they teach in the academy quite extensive. Has to do with the fleeing felon. So yes, if you're fleeing with a firearm and we're in pursuit, there is a good chance that situation will probably wind up in some type of deadly force action. If with the carry law that's out there now, and so many people with firearms, that has kind of adjusted the way we deal with people with guns and people running. I know here recently there was an issue in Texas where a gentleman had a shotgun, took off running from police. Fortunately, they did not shoot him. I'm not quite sure why he ran, but at the end of the day, they gave him back a shotgun and he went on home. Why he was running, I don't know. So just because someone's running and has a firearm doesn't necessarily mean that it's a situation to get into a gunfight. But just know that if you do have a firearm and the police arrive on the scene, the best thing you do is just get out of the way because there's a very high possibility that will take place.
Again, plain and simple, I believe the question is person running, fleeing with a weapon. And weapon or not, what is important is what is known to that officer at the time, period. The law allows an officer to use deadly force against a violent fleeing felon. So, hypothetical example, I got a prisoner in custody who was a mass murderer. He's getting away from me. The law allows me to use deadly force against him to prevent his escape. And I have to weigh, in my mind, is allowing this person to escape going to bring more danger to the ordinary citizen or not? And that's what my decision is, to use force against somebody. Every case is different. And I know it's the first thing we want to say. An unarmed teen was shot and killed. And that's what you need to know about the law. Does the law allow an officer to use deadly force against a person who does not have a weapon? Right?
Just to kind of expand on what they said, from what I understand about that incident, that arrived at a wedding, threatening to shoot up somebody, is my understanding. The cops were called and confronted the individual and took off. They were aware, that particular officer had knowledge that person had a gun, and when he tried to frisk it, discovered the gun, that's when he took off. Now, that officer has a split second to make a decision once he drops that gun, or what he perceived to be a gun. Officers want to go home. They don't want anybody to die. on their shift. So it's obviously it's an unfortunate incident whenever someone loses their life. But I think if you look at the facts of that particular case, I believe the officers actually were most likely justified. But I would say this as a community, we have to be more patient when we react to these types of matters. We have to do an investigation and know for ourselves, is this a justified shooting or is this unjustified? Because when there are incidents where the officers are wrong, the broader community are going to say we're crying wolf. So I'm glad we were patient in this matter and we didn't just look at it as a black and white issue. But I mean, the law, as the officers correctly articulated, is this person a threat to me? Is this person a threat to the public? And so, like I said, officers have a difficult job. Obviously, our place in the community is difficult. So it's a delicate balance, something we have to really understand the situation, and we have to know where to react and how to react.
Good afternoon. I'm going to first apologize for not being here right on time. My lead took me, and that's why I didn't get here until a few minutes after. I'm Keisha Williams, attorney and also municipal judge for the city of Langston. That was a great question that has been presented. You know, the officers, like I said, the officers want to go. They don't know sometimes they don't know what weapon you have. Sometimes if you're just running, a lot of times they're not going to pull their weapon, they're going to chase after you. They have radios, they're going to do things along those lines. In order to get them to pull their weapons, they have to know that there's a danger to either themselves or the community at large. At that point, officers are trained to shoot. They're trained to shoot in the heart, they're trained to shoot in the head. They're not trained to shoot you in the arm or the leg. So that's what's going to happen. We may not like it. We may, however you feel about it, but that is what's going to happen. That's what they're trained to do. By and large, the best thing to do is don't run. You listen to what they're telling you to do, and hopefully everybody will be going home at the end of the day.
Well, again, by the time we get to the end of the panel, it's like, oh, what can I say? I mean, everything, especially Mr. Battle over here, talking about community, talking about, it's like, man, you got all the thunder. But the important part of this question is the weapon part, because you didn't ask what happens when the officer knows he doesn't have a weapon. Obviously, if you don't have a weapon, when you're fleeing, they're not going to pull out the gun and shoot you. If they do that, then that's when something wrong happens. But the important part of this question is the weapon. And of course, they see a gun, they don't know if it's a toy, they don't know if it's real. So they have to take precautions. Officers are people. They want to go back to their children, grandchildren, wife, mother, daughters. And so we have to look at it from a perspective of a human being, not just an officer. So I think what Mr. Battle says is that you have to, we have to weigh and then wait as well. Not act as fast as some people would like us to act.
We kind of decipher the example a little bit. We have a situation where you're in an open field, livestock. You have a situation where you're in a high school gymnasium. Let's put it in a situation where you're in a public housing unit. There's nobody outside. You're running down the street somewhere in northeast Oklahoma City. Houses on both sides, north and south of the neighborhood. And the officers know that that person has a gun, and they can actually see the gun being brandished. Should that officer shoot that person? Based on that alone, I think that an officer should not shoot somebody that's a fleeing suspect. That shooting at someone and he's running away, and the officers observe him shooting at another individual or gang member or something like that, that may be different. But I don't think an officer, with all the training that they're supposed to get and the expertise, have to make subjective decisions. And I think looking at it subjectively, I don't think that an officer should shoot a fleeing suspect. If the whole question is what they said before, if that person believes that somebody's life will be in danger, then obviously the officers have a right to shoot that person in order to save someone else's life. Or if they suspect that there's a likelihood of alluded, but in my experience, I don't think that's the case. I think that if someone is running down the street and there's a gun, you know, I think there may be a judgment call, it may be subjective, but the way I feel, according to the law, I don't think that an officer should just be justified just in shooting somebody just because they have a gun and they're running away. Because how many times we have 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old young black men that may be running away with a gun. So it's just the officer just shoot. They know that person is just trying to get away. And so I think that's a lot of the problems is a lot of the officers shoot. There was a situation in Dale City regarding an officer that was charged, and I think there was a trial. He got sentenced in the Dale City officer. So I don't necessarily think there should be an absolute rule, and I'm sure those officers are not saying that it's absolute, but I think we got to look at it a little bit more in depth to see whether or not that is. Just because the officer says that person has a gun, that person runs away, there are houses around, or maybe a public housing project, there's nobody out in the area, I don't think that officer should shoot.
I believe there should be an absolute rule. I believe there's an absolute rule of not shooting someone in the back. I don't think there's no justification for it. If someone's running away, that person is not a threat. That has been, so there's no justification in my mind for shooting anyone in the back. I understand that officers have a tough job and they want to go back home. But as far as a fleeing felon, just because he's carrying a firearm, there's no justification to shoot.
I'm sorry, just real quick, while we're on this topic, issues come up in my jurisdiction. If you have children have these guns, toy guns now, look so real. They're required by law to have a different color, like a red or orange tip on them. A lot of these kids are breaking it off. If you have your children, take them from them, because the officers, especially in low light situations, don't know the difference between that and a real gun. And it can get real bad real fast. So I just want to throw that out there. I've seen the difference.
Okay, so I know for myself, when I see the videos of police-involved shootings, and I'm screaming like, they have to do that. I don't have any idea what the workflow or the workday of a police officer is like, or if I can make that same split decision if I think my life is in danger. So I want to talk to you guys, the cops specifically, about what does your workday look like? You know, what do you encounter on a normal workday, and how many days do you work, how many hours do you work, and how hard is it to make that split decision when you think your life may be in danger?
Yeah, I believe three shifts. They work 8 days. This is very important because officers these days we're really short, and that's a national. On certain situations where a young man was giving me a problem, I could actually happen to use force against him because I said, "Hey, we're right here. I don't want to fight you." I said because it won't be a fair fight. I allow you to knock me out, take my gun, and kill me, and that would allow some of the young people to say, "Okay, maybe I don't want to do this. This is different." I don't think a lot of people are aware of that these days, but I don't think just because we work 10-hour shifts that most officers are lethargic and can't make that decision because we go through extensive training. But we are human. To say an officer doesn't experience fear, he does. He's trained to respond. I was in a shooting once, but he's trained to respond on his training. He's trained to respond to a threat. When I went through the range master, I said, how would I know if I'm in a shoot situation? You have to ask yourself whether you're in a shoot situation. You're in a shoot situation. There's any way you can take cover or whatever and get up in that life. The first and foremost, the preservation of life, the end product. So that's always a last minute split second decision on whether you're going to use force, deadly force, or whatever type of force you're going to use. But I guarantee you, if you're in a fist fight with the cop, and you guys have seen social media, and you see how young people fight these days. It's inhumane. I think back in our day, we had a fist fight. When somebody got knocked down, it was over. Now I've seen people actually almost stomp people to death. And you think an officer didn't see that? I'm not going to get stomped out on the street. So if at all possible, I would want to talk to that person and talk them out of the fight. And that's another thing that young people on the street need to be aware of is your nonverbal communication. They are looking at that. I understand the culture. I can tell the difference. I hear white officers I'll let you know. They kill each other. I'm serious. So it really takes getting to know the culture, but the culture has to understand that every officer out there is not from this culture. For example, domestic situations. When I didn't grow up in a house where mama was beating up on daddy, daddy was beating up on mama, and brothers and sisters did it. When I first went to my first domestic, oh my God, oh, they're gonna kill each other. Let's chill out. I don't know about that. Let me pass.
Officers work 8-hour shifts, 5 on 2 off, for 3 shifts. Like some of the larger departments, most oftentimes only have one officer per shift, which whole mindset for that officer. He gets out, he's on a traffic stop, or more importantly, if he responds to a domestic violence situation or a fight in progress, you have to understand he is responding by his self-initiative. He is outnumbered. If there are weapons, probably out.